Early one morning, Tommy wakes up to a noise and looks outside. He witnesses the garbage truck go by and is amazed. Later in the day, he tells Chucky, Phil, and Lil all about Hubert the monster and how people leave monster food in cans for Hubert to eat. Chucky knows all about Hubert and naturally fears him, but it's news to the twins. The babies decide they want to try monster food and sneak in the Pickles' garage. The garage, it turns out, is a horrible mess because Stu and Dee Dee haven't taken their recyclables to the recycling plant in 6 months. They manage to locate the garbage cans. They try to have Lil reach in and grab some of the contents, but because the cans are near empty, Lil accidentally falls in and realizes they're on her own that monster food isn't good at all. While the babies try to sneak back to the playpen, Betty and Dee Dee catch them and notice Lil covered in garbage. While they quickly wash her in the kitchen sink, the phone rings. Stu answers it for Dee Dee and finds it to be reporter Tiffany Bride, the one with the hair. She wants to do a story next week about the Pickles campaign for recycling trucks for their city, instead of people having to drive to the recycling plant themselves, which will increase the amount of goods to be recycled. Stu agrees, much to Dee Dee's horror, both because their lack of trips to the plant and because they put out 6 cans of garbage a week. She's afraid they'll look like the most wasteful people in the city. Stu assures her he'll go take everything to the recycling plant before the interview. He also states that Tiffany Bride is going to see his one little can, to Tommy's horror. The babies are instantly worried about the lack of trash in the garbage can that Stu's plan will cause. They decide to do something about it. They go around the house and find junk to fill the cans, thanks to Angelica. However, Dee Dee and Stu find their things and rescue them. The day of the interview arrives, and it turns out Stu never cleaned out the garage. Dee Dee is horrified, but Stu points out that nobody has to go into the garage. All they will see is one little can that he's putting out for the interview to make it seem like the family creates much less garbage than it really does. Tommy is concerned about the size of that one can for Hubert and relays the concerns to his friends. They agree something must be done and sneak back to the garage during the interview in front of the Pickles house. Live on TV with the neighbors watching, the babies get the garage door open and junk cascades out into the street. Tiffany Bride's hair is knocked off, revealing her to be bald on live television. 1 week later, Tiffany Bride has returned with a new story, describing last week's disaster and how it's inspired the city to invest in new recycling trucks, which pull up to the Pickles' house. Due to the fact it's obviously blamed on the mistaken belief that the Pickles don't put all their trash on garbage day, and for the sake of both bringing their disposal down to a single weekly can and so they can take it to have it recycled. So Dee Dee's campaign is a success after all. The babies are watching on TV, even though it's a live report, and are impressed with the baby Huberts. Babies are watching a show about a talking poodle named Oodles who saves people's lives. On the TV, he tells 2 clueless kids, Billy and Tallulah, that he's on the way to save Uncle Lyle from a burning barn. Billy and Tallulah mention they don't have an Uncle Lyle or even a barn. Oodles rescues Uncle Lyle and also puts out the fire, which is caused by an electric cable falling over. Lyle says, "You can't talk, you're a dog," and the show ends. Chucky calls Oodles the best dog in the world. Lil admires how Oodles saves people when they are in trouble. Chucky admires his fearlessness. They all like Oodles' ability to talk. Phil wants Spike to be able to talk, and Tommy thinks maybe Spike actually can. Chucky points out that Spike can't even roll over. Then Angelica comes and they inform her of the show with the talking dog. She shows them a toy phone, which she calls a big girl toy, as it's like her mom's phone and the babies are too young for it. She then phones Cynthia to do her laundry and leaves. All the while, she had been dismissing the idea of a talking dog. Tommy thinks Angelica is wrong and that dogs can talk, so they go off to make Spike talk. Tommy says hi to Spike and tells him it's a nice day, also asking him if he's recently eaten any bones. Chucky doubts that Spike will talk, but Tommy's not giving up and opens Spike's mouth. I think his breath smells bad. And Tommy asks Spike why it smells, and Spike burps, which Phil and Lil think is his talking, and they argue about what he said, but Tommy and Chucky say that burping is not talking. Then Phil and Lil think that maybe Spike is not talking because nobody's in trouble. Oodles only talks when someone's in trouble. So they tie Phil to a tree with toilet paper. Chucky doubts it will work. Phil shouts for help as part of the plan, also referencing Uncle Lyle. Spike gets up and walks to the bush, but then he pees on it and doesn't say anything. He then goes back and falls asleep. They plan to untie Phil and then get some juice. Meanwhile, Angelica sneakily places her toy phone to Spike's collar. The babies are sad, and Spike cannot talk. Then, using the phone, Angelica makes Spike appear to say, "Hey, over here!" The surprised baby asks him to say something else. Next piece of dialogue is, "It's me, Spike, the dog," and a claim that he never talked before because he didn't feel like it. Tommy thinks that Spike is a wonder poodle, and they take him inside to play. Angelica makes Spike greet Dee Dee, and Dee Dee says she'll have his dinner soon. She then gasps and quickly dismisses as silly the conversation she just seemingly had with Spike. Then Angelica makes Spike tell Stu to clean up a mess he made on the carpet. Stu is annoyed to hear this and then surprised when he realizes Spike talked. Spike later asks the babies to get him cookies, despite them being for after dinner, threatening to eat them up if they do not. Despite their fear of the height of the table, Tommy climbs on the others and gets the cookie jar, and Spike tells him to put the jar outside, and then to go back inside. In the kitchen, the babies think Spike is acting strange, both for a superhero and for a dog. Spike is lying down, and they hear chewing sounds as though he was eating, but he isn't. Outside, Angelica's eating the cookies and happily gloating about how easily she tricked the babies. The babies discover Angelica's toy phone falling off Spike's collar, and realizing what Angelica did, they call her out. Then Spike knocks a plant over and barks at Stu. Stu and Dee Dee follow Spike outside and catch Angelica with an empty cookie jar. Both Dee Dee and Stu are cross at Angelica. They semi-scold her as they take her inside to get cleaned up before calling her dad to tell him about her actions. Then the babies all pet Spike, gradually accepting while he may not be a wonder dog, he's a pretty good regular dog.